サタンしろ
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 209 of the Saturn Studs podcast. We're feeling fine here today with my co-hosts Peter and Jake.
This week, we've got a good one for you. It's the Horse Napalm edition of the podcast, whether that is napalm by horses, or napalm for horses, or napalm from horses. You be the judge.
What about napalm on horses? We just declare war on horses.
Yeah.
And napalm them.
Man, Vietnam would have turned out so much different.
My Little Pony. My Little Pony war is hell.
Just napalm them with horses. Drop horses from the skies.
Just giant.
They've got hooves. They can walk across
bombs.
the punji sticks.
Punji stick. Oh.
Goddamn punji sticks. And of course, as always, we're coming at you live from, you know what, I'll just say it. We're coming at you live from the Goop Lab. They invited us in as professionals who know their way around a podcast. And we're going to get real spiritual with them.
We watched Goop Lab because we wanted to keep on our little mini theme of science fiction we had going here after Forbidden Planet. And my God, this is, we use the word dense a lot, but this was dense. This is like the fucking, if the core of a neutron star were made of bullshit, it would look an awful lot like Goop Lab.
Yeah. This is what happens. This show is what happens when you take the format of an informational sort of like docu-series, as they call it, and you take out all its organs and replace them with a piñata stuffings. You replace them with homeopathic sugar pills. I'm surprised all right, full disclosure, they don't actually do a homeopathic remedy episode on this. I thought they would at least gone into the basics of it, because there is some established doctrine. I don't know if you guys, how much you all know about that, for how homeopathic medicine actually is in their minds is supposed to work.
Yeah, like all the Western medicine bullshit that's out there. Western, would it be Western? Yeah.
What?
No, Eastern medicine?
Jake, we're the
Eastern
West.
medicine.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I couldn't tell if you were making a joke or not. I was hoping that you had the setup.
That compass, man, it's tricky.
The Golden Compass.
You know what? It's all about
It's a great book.
It's all about perception of where you're located in the world. Maybe I was located in a part of the world where Western was China.
And much like the Goop Lab, there is actual scientific explanations for perception, not crazy aura shit. I like to call my sense of perception my eyes and my taste buds, because Kurt engaged. I think this is the most we've ever engaged with one of our properties. Ironically, Kurt he went off on this. He dug down deep into this for comedy gold everywhere. Jake stuck into work so he could, commit.
My work is my living room now. Don't you know?
He broke into his office to watch this, and I rigorously developed a drinking game based upon my evidence.
Come to think of it, I should have probably drank while I was doing this too, because there's always so much bullshit you can take in.
And I will teach you how.
Episodes.
I will describe my experiences of I went through a bottle of Red Stripe, a bottle of Smirnoff Ice, half a bottle of Jameson, and a couple shots of vodka, and a tin of anchovies watching this thing.
And a tin of anchovies.
Gross,
Nothing more Peter has
with-
been said for.
Yeah.
And
a bunch of random fucking alcohols.
and a tin of anchovies.
Red Stripe? Who fucking drinks Red Stripe?
Jamaicans?
True champions.
Oh,
God.
no. Why was that just ready? Oh, I really hope you got that this morning for the podcast. And not like,
nothing-
this is the Goop Lab anchovy can.
Well,
Just had on my
I
desk
was
for
eating the
another-
anchovies at 2 a.m. What are you gonna ask from me?
For the none of you who know what's going on right now, Peter just reached off frame of his webcam, pulled in a tin of anchovies that had been previously open for an unknowable amount of time, took a sip from that can and put it back down. It was maybe the most disgusting thing that's ever been seen, even if that were like a fresh thinning of anchovies.
Jesus Christ.
What is this show done to us? We'll tell you during our feature.
Yes.
But first,
Sir,
it's Trey
might surprise
Watch.
you.
We much like the tin of anchovies, I have a trailer for a movie that has been out for an unknown amount of time. That is Mortal Kombat: Scorpion's Revenge.
Yeah, like April 13th,
It's the same month. Yep.
14th. So, yeah, we were only just a little bit late, but this kind of missed our radar here. It's DC, it's animated, all those DC animated ones that you see, like the Batman Bad Blood and all that shit. It's that studio, so the art style looks quite similar, but it features Mortal Kombat characters, and it's got Best Buy customers giving it a 5 out of 5, and DVD Netflix has it at 3.3 out of 5.
Okay.
Remember when that was
DVD
just
Netflix?
Netflix? Remember that's when all Netflix was DVDs by mail.
Yeah, you just buy like series and hang on to them for a while. And they're like, hey, when are you
do-
gonna send those back?
Whenever I damn well feel like it.
The Office is a really popular show, man. You gotta give it back to us at some point.
Yeah, true story. We ended the subscription after a while, but my family were like OG subscribers of Netflix, like way back in 2003, I think, as early as then.
Yeah, that was around the same time that GameFly was an actual thing you could do. Remember GameFly? A video game rental service.
I just
But
assumed it was a
the
scam.
more I think about it, like the more I've thought about GameFly, I'm like, you know what? That was actually a good service that I probably should have taken advantage of.
Video game rentals as a concept were a great thing that I think is missed today. And the kids of today will not know what going to the video store and renting a video game was like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great, especially like back when I was doing like Let's Play YouTube, like as a more serious hobby in another life. The pressure was on to make content about the newest releases, and as a kid, you don't have money, so like the idea of like I can get the new release in, make the content that I need for it while it's still relevant, and then go on to the next new release was like, that maybe I'd have gotten bigger if I'd thought of doing something like that.
I think there are a lot of games that would have never gotten as big as they did if it wasn't for like video game rentals. If you like, some of them probably would have still, but I think of something like Mario Party or a Mario Party-esque game. There are some of the off-brand ones that if you
Sonic
didn't,
Shuffle.
yeah, like if you had to like buy Sonic Shuffle,
Oh,
yeah, but if you could just rent it and just keep renting it, if you really wanted to play it again.
yeah.
Because there were a lot of games that I knew that people just rented 5 different times. They're just like, I'm just going to rent this again.
Yeah, or if you rent it to a certain amount of times and you're just like, you know what? I want to buy it now.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that
Turns
would
out.
work. But
And some stores had that policy where if, like you could rent the game and then like buy it at a discounted price.
Rent to own. For video games, yeah, sure. For furniture, never do that. Never do rent to own.
Never rent furniture or like a TV. It's just not worth it, man. It's just not worth it. Save up a little bit of extra money. You can wait a little bit of time and then you'll just own it outright.
Yeah. I think someone did the breakdown for like they took like a random sampling of furniture and did the rent-own breakdown, and you end up paying like literally another what it costs. You literally pay like double what it costs to rent to own.
That's a terrible price scheme.
Yeah, just go out, buy yourself a love sack for a couple grand.
Love
got
sack?
$4,000.
It's a walkable sleeping bag. It's like a fucking right. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, there's love sack where they have like their what is it called? What's the big circular spherical
My scrotum.
ball sack that you can like lay in? That's got all the beads in it. Beanbag. It's like a beanbag, but like with stuffing and fluff, and not beans.
Right, it's the giant one. It's like 3 feet in diameter, and you.
Right. Okay, I know what you're talking about now.
But now
I thought you were trying to say love seat.
No.
And didn't know that that's what that piece of furniture.
No. Love sack is they have couches, and
It's a song by the B-52s.
their
right?
whole thing. Love sack, baby, love sack, give me that love sack. Yeah. Had a different meaning, but
That's what the serial killer puts his bodies in when he's done. It's the love sack.
Gonna put you in my love sack.
This is what I was thinking of. I was thinking of the Selk bag.
And whatever fucking Friday the 13th where Jason picks up the girl in the sleeping bag and wax.
Oh yeah, and Jason 10 or something like that, when he just wraps her up in a sleeping bag and just goes to town and just flings her back and
the love
forth.
sack. That's the love sack.
That's hilarious. I laughed during that scene, dude. I was like,
I don't watch horror movies, but I know that scene because it's just fucking ridiculous to watch.
I had no weight because the girl was a robot or a simulation or something like that. So it's like,
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for Jason 10.
Jason 10.
X. Jason X, I guess.
In
is
space.
better off.
In space.
Yeah, in space.
In space.
No,
Spice.
the love sack is like a modular couch that each of its sections can be moved around and oriented differently, and then it has an outer covering that can be removed and washed. Pretty expensive, to be honest.
Yep. Yeah,
Love
what is it? The big one here, where this is $500.
Yeah, that's
And
a
then
sack.
if you get the really expensive one, and it's $1,500 for a beanbag chair.
They have more.
Because there's different
Oh.
sizes. There's like,
I see how that works. So it's like a fucking storage bin that you put these bean bags in to like give it the shape of furniture.
no,
Oh, that's storage, separate storage.
that is
Okay, I see.
stored. Yeah, I'm sure there is, but
there's
actual
like two
couches.
things. Yeah, I see the big fucking hella beans that the dog is like very scared to be sleeping on.
hella beans.
And then but there's actually like a couch looking motherfucker.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's called the sectional. I forgot.
Yeah.
The sectional?
The sectional.
That's actually not a terrible idea.
No, it's a
I
very
like
smart
the
idea.
idea of a modular sectional, but
It's just so expensive.
yeah, $4,000 for 6 seats. I mean, that's a good number of seats, but that's also a good number of money.
They get you by discounting it like crazy all the time.
Okay. They're doing that.
Well, that was the discounted price. It's like they took
Yeah.
$1,000 and $8 off the normal list price that I'm guarantee you it's never been listed at.
Oh my god, look at this. 10 seats and 12 slides for $8,000.
1 bedroom, 2 bath.
12 sides. 1 bedroom, 2 baths.
1 bedroom, 2. That seems weird. You generally want more bedrooms than bath.
Yeah,
But
generally. But if you really need to shit a lot, and
you have
it's
a lot of
like-
people over, but no one stays. You have a sad life. No.
Everybody knows.
So Scorpion's Revenge out now.
That is what we were talking about, wasn't
Man,
it?
Mortal Kombat goes to the love sack. That was weird.
Get over here.
He said it. Oh,
Hey.
he says it.
Get
Yep.
over here.
If Nicolas Cage played Scorpion,
Yes, please.
Get over here.
Wait, who would Nick Cage play in a Mortal Kombat movie?
A guy in the background who fucking spills coffee when Johnny Cage.
I want Nick
start
Cage.
it.
Could Nick Cage be Johnny Cage? Is he insane
I
enough?
mean, physically he cannot be. Especially not now when he's out here looking like fat Elvis.
Wrecked.
I realized there are
That's his
distinct
next
lack
great
of
role
bearded
as-
people in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Facial hair was the first thing to go.
It was harder to like capture the detail of on the cameras when they made the sprites.
So I think that's the only trailer we tried to have.
Well, there was that.
There's The Secret, Dare to Dream, which is based on some religious book.
Well,
And,
I thought it was based on the Secret, that weird self-help book.
Yeah, that has like very religious overtones, I believe.
Oh, I thought the Secret was just that, like. So as I've heard it while we're talking about pseudoscience, it was that like the energy of the universe is out there and untapped because, if you don't know what energy actually is, you think it's just like it's like precipitation. It'll just condense on a goddamn glass or whatever. The energy is out there, and if you want something bad enough, you call it out to the universe, and the energy, the good vibe energy, comes and fucking it makes good things happen to you. So if you want something, you just gotta wish really hard. You gotta just really want it. Don't do anything about it. You just gotta really want it, and the universe will make it
wrote
happen for
a
you.
lot of shit. The magic, the power, how The Secret changed my life. The Secret Gratitude book.
Yeah.
And here's one by a guy named Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich.
Yep.
Exclamation mark. Yeah, okay. So maybe I for some reason, maybe there is religious overtones in there too, but
I mean,
it was like,
there's some spiritual, silly stuff going on.
all right, so yeah,
I'm
this
sure
is
that people follow it religiously if you're into The Secret.
yeah. But any lonely guy out there knows that's not true.
Oh, what?
did we talk about Judd Apatow's movie with Pete Davidson, The King of
No.
Staten Island?
I don't believe so.
That sounds familiar, but only because I feel like I've heard a lot of movies with those kind of titles.
Yeah.
I think it went right to video on demand since
Oh, good.
I think it probably was going to anyways. To be honest, it just feels like that kind of movie that would like go right to Netflix or Prime Video or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like it's it almost seems like it probably takes a lot of notes from his childhood and puts it into a story about like the relationship between him and this younger kid and his formative years, I guess, or something.
Right.
Huh.
I've seen a couple of the trailers for it, but I can only remember a couple things that really stand out in it.
I am not a big fan of Pete Davidson. I don't find him all that.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be really heavy into his comedy, so I think it's for his fans.
And for Judd
For sure.
Apatow fans.
And Judd Apatow. Yeah.
The one promotional image from it so far is him doing the Christ the Redeemer pose.
Yeah.
And his whole body's all tatted up, and he's standing on a car.
It reminds me of
Sure.
It's not the Eminem scene, but it's from Scary Movie like 1 or 2 or something like that, where he's on top of the car shooting the Uzis, and he says he's White Kong or something like that.
Oh, interesting. I actually haven't seen Scary Movie 1 or 2, so you could tell me anything, and I'd probably believe you that was in it.
Years.
I was in it.
Jake was in Scary Movie 1 and 2. He was in Scary Movie 1 or 2. Can never nail it down.
B14, 1 or 2.
It's called Big Time Adolescence, for those who want to know, and I believe it's out on Hulu.
Wait, this is the King of Staten Island?
Yeah, so I guess maybe it's not the King of Staten Island. So maybe there's another movie.
Yeah, there's another movie, Big Time Adolescence.
shit.
I've seen that on Hulu. And I'm like, wow, they really put Pete Davidson in a movie, huh? Well, sorry for your loss.
Wow, okay. Not often that there's 2 Pete Davidson movies out in 1 year.
Yep.
Shit, okay.
So
there
I'm
must
looking at
not be
this
a trailer
trailer.
for it. I just assumed that was the trailer because I didn't remember the name of that one. But I guess I'm wrong.
I'm looking at this trailer here, and the thing that just doesn't jive for me, like I see the trashy, like the parties, the smoking, all that jazz. The house looks too nice for that. Now I haven't been to like straight up fucking like house party rager. I don't know if you could tell that from the way I look and act, but I may not have gone to as many of those as you would have thought. Not really a party rager boy, but I've been around that sort of environment. I've been around, just chilling, doing stuff, and those kind of interactions usually happened in trailer park with the nice wood paneling and a hallway, not even as wide as your wingspan, carpets everywhere on the floor. It's a great choice. It's always a great choice. It's always a great time.
So the summary of
It's home.
the King of Staten Island, the new one that's coming out in June, because I think the Big Time Adolescence is already out on Hulu, so that's one of Pete
That is
Davidson's
correct.
comedy. It's a semi-autobiography about Pete Davidson growing up on Staten Island, and including losing his father in 9/11, and entering the world of stand-up comedy. And if you know anything about Pete Davidson's comedy, it's like his dad's death is not big, but it comes up almost every comedy bit, and he has a very dark sense of humor about it. Like he'll make like,
Interesting.
I can't ask my dad because he burned alive, like shit like that, and it makes like the audience really awkward about it. But it was his way of coping with it, I guess.
I guess, but doesn't.
Yeah.
That's
I don't really have anything else to say about it.
That's his way of coping with it. And I
care
think
for
it
his
just
comedy.
makes other people like uncomfortable, to be quite honest. But I think he gets off on that situation.
What?
Like I think that's a situation that he
That's a bold claim.
gets
James.
off on. Well, it's like he prefers, he likes that situation when he puts people in an uncomfortable situation, because I think it gives him the advantage tactically, obviously. Talk about your dead dad.
Jake, what the fuck are you talking?
He's gone down a rabbit hole.
Is that just Coke you're drinking?
I ran out of Captain Morgan, so I had to put Pinnacle Whipped in here now.
So you do drink in the morning during these shows?
Since episode 1, baby.
And that's a sample of Pete Davidson's comedy.
Yeah.
Makes me think of Daniel Tosh. Or no, not Tosh. Tosh is, well, he kind of does that where he just like shocks you until no one's. What was that joke he makes? Like, I like to skim down the audience until like one person's laughing, and then I know it's time to stop.
Yeah.
No, it makes me think of Bo Burnham, where he'll just like he'll single you out and be like, "You're an asshole out here. Feel bad for yourselves." Joke time, or
Song time. What the other one is? The one that you showed, Pete. The Lovecraft.
John? Oh, I was gonna say there was a teaser for Space Jam.
Oh, nobody cares about Space Jam.
It's got LeBron.
Not happening until there's actually a trailer.
Space Jam sponsored by Sprite Cranberry.
Y'all want Sprite Cranberry?
Y'all want another Bugs Bunny movie?
He's going to come in at halftime and be like, y'all want a Sprite Cranberry? And they're all going to turn to claymation and win the basketball game.
I feel like Space Jam.
Kobe Bryant's going to hop out of a helicopter and be like, surprise, bitch. He's like, nah, but my daughter actually did die. But oops.
Oh, okay. That took me a second. I forgot.
So much worse,
I honestly
Jake.
thought I forgot that all of that had happened.
Kobe's dead.
Yeah.
It's not true. He just didn't want to be in coronavirus world.
He went to his private island with his daughter.
Know, my conspiracy theory is that Papa John's guy started the coronavirus.
Oh, 100%.
This is his reckoning.
This is
Yes,
reckoning.
he warned us all. Our day of reckoning was
No, yeah,
coming.
he gave us proper
I
warning.
think he took it a little too far, in my opinion. But
I bet you if you look at Papa's history of like flight tickets and stuff, he probably made a flight back in like November or December to Wuhan, China. And you'll see
he broke into the lab where
Yes.
this was developed.
Yes, you'll see that there's Papa's name, Papa, first name Papa, last name John, is in the visiting category. Reason NA, not applicable, of course.
You can see like those like little water stains on the sign-in book because he was visibly damp when he infiltrated.
And where there should be a test tube labeled COVID-19 or coronavirus, there's now a test tube of marinara sauce in its place, so nobody would notice.
To confirm your suspicions, the Wuhan lab's analysis revealed it is just lightly seasoned ketchup, like we all suspected.
All right, guys. Brain blast. Jimmy Neutron brain blast here.
All right.
This could be a foundation for the actual plot to Space Jam 2. Now, hear me out. Doesn't actually take place in space. There is jam of the tomato variety, Papa John's sauce.
Oh.
So Papa John sees unleashed coronavirus on the world, not just as revenge, not just as like emotional revenge, but he wants to get his company back because Papa John's will be in distress when the coronavirus hits and they need to sell more takeout or delivery, right? And he'll come back and be like, "I'll help you, but you have to give me the company first." And Shaq's like, "I can't do that, man. I'm stuck. I'm stuck." So he goes to LeBron. He's like, "LeBron, you gotta help me. We gotta beat him in a game of basketball to save the company." And LeBron contacts the only people he knows for the job, Bugs Bunny, because he didn't catch coronavirus.
Because it's a cartoon.
Yeah. No. Oh, that's it. Yeah. Papa John's like, "I'll win it back from you in a game of basketball. Bet you can't play Shaq," and Shaq's all sick from the coronavirus, so he can't do
He's
it. And
also like
it's a point of
600
humiliation.
pounds.
Like he's
I'm out of shape, man. I can't do it.
so he's totally gonna humiliate Shaq and just make him feel like a fool by beating him at his own game. So Shaq has to contact Kobe Bryant. Not Kobe. God damn it! I'm mixing them. It's like Green Day and fucking Nirvana.
Yep.
I'm mixing them.
Contacts Kobe Bryant. Doesn't pick up the phone. Oh, bet he's out.
He turns into Kazam.
He's like,
says, I
Kobe.
can do.
Kobe picks up the
Yes.
phone. Hold on, Papa. I gotta call you back. I gotta get on a helicopter ride. Click.
No, LeBron. He's gonna go for the dunk at the end. It's gonna be a full court dunk. He's not gonna make it, and then you're just gonna see the hands of Kobe just lifting him through and bringing him to the
The
hoop.
ghost of Kobe Bryant carries him to the hoop.
Yes.
I got
And
you,
then
Papa.
you know what he does after he puts LeBron down, and LeBron goes, "Oh my God, Kobe Bryant, you won us the basketball game." And then he goes, "You woke him," and he goes back off into the great beyond.
The ref calls spiritual foul, and he's had too many that game. So he has to leave.
Goaltending.
And you see the corporate Papa John's people like watching Kobe get off into his helicopter and shooting it down with a pizza RPG.
I just like to imagine the Papa John
Jake,
corporate.
We keep giving you opportunities to skirt around it, but you go back to it with more vigor than before.
Well, I'm thinking if we put a villain to Kobe's death, that is the Papa John corporate brand.
But no, it's just Papa John. Papa John corporate forced him out.
Yeah, they're the
That's
bad
why
people. They're the ones
why
that
he takes over the board, and Shaq's the only one left. So instead of the Monstars, you have the corporate board of Papa John's, and it's like the Matrix. And they go up to Bugs Bunny, and they're like, "Mr. Bunderson."
And then they turn him into that sexual addict version of Bugs Bunny that Warner Brothers legally claimed as their own property, making it canon.
So I think we have the Bugs Bunny movie.
I mean,
Jam 2
honestly, Space Jam, our version of Space Jam 2, like, I'd say 50-50 shot it's better than the actual Space Jam 2.
Yeah. I'd watch it. I'd watch it time and time again.
I'd fucking watch that. It's maybe not for the whole family, but
Oh, shit. There's another movie called thing about Lovecraft. Jordan Peele's doing
Lovecraft Country.
Lovecraftian country. There's a monster. And
I don't think there's a monster. I think the monster. Oh, I think the monster is racism.
yeah, because there's black people in it. So
well, we all know
I read the
Lovecraft
synopsis,
was
and it's about a black family traveling across the country on a journey and encountering in the South in like the 50s or 70s.
okay, yeah.
So
Is it called Lovecraft Country just because Lovecraft was a horrible racist?
Must be.
I think they're going to compare the horrors of racism to the existential dread of many of HP's thingamajigs. I'll just call them thingamajigs. Cthulhu is a giant thingamajig.
It is. The tentacle monster.
I mean, you're not wrong.
It's the elder Squidbilly.
The eldest Squidbilly. That show, how the fuck did that show ever make it onto the air?
The same way anything makes it onto it. The same way the fucking Shivering Truth made it onto Adult Swim. Y'all ever watch that show?
The Shivering Truth? Should
Yeah.
I be afraid to look this up?
Look up a clip, turn the volume down. Like, you don't need to hear sound to hear it, like to see it. It's a spectacle upon its own.
On to the follow-up. Yeah. The domestic box office for weekend 17 of 2020. 4 more theaters are in the mix now, at least, as true history of the Kelly Gang was featured in 5 theaters, bringing in an average of $1,967 per theater, which is actually less than The Resistance did by a good $300 almost, but doesn't matter because the total gross again $9,000, $9,839. Not even 5 digits. There's more money in my savings account than this movie made at the box office. Woo! Yeah, but it also happens to be a new #1 movie in America and our spotlight picture of the week. So we're going to be taking a look at some IMDb user reviews as well as some general critical reception. This movie, True History of the Kelly Gang, currently has a 6.1 out of 10 on IMDb, 77% on Rotten Tomatoes, 75% on Metacritic. So IMDb actually being the harshest media outlet.
Yeah. All right. And we'll see. We'll see if the reviews tell us why this movie came out the way it did.
Yeah, well, let me just tell you all that this is the best movie ever. 10 out of 10. McKay stuns with absolute emotional depth and a hint of fever madness. January 14th, 2020. By Steffi with 2 eyes, -17651. McKay jumps out of the screen with his almost 0% pure muscle physique and animalistic introduction. Both maddening and enlightening, McKay pulls a performance that stuns and takes viewers into the soul of a desperate man with a will to not be beaten down. Cinematography is beautiful, as always with Davis, a stunning and wild mother, whilst young Ned is also extraordinary. Don't miss it. There was no punctuation in that sentence. 21 out of 58 found it helpful, though, so...
Well, let me tell you why this is a 1 out of 10. Because it's a pile of garbage by Revhead-73399. I can't believe that Russell Crowe put his name to this completely inaccurate version of Ned Kelly and his gang of outlaws. It's almost the complete opposite of the actual As I's story. 50 out of 85 found this helpful?
That was okay. That was the end of the review.
I will say, comment. Because Russell Crowe, known for his plethora of recent really good decisions.
He was in Gladiator 25 years ago.
And then he took that and he spun it into Les Mis.
I didn't know
he was
in that.
Javert.
Was he? Not in the most recent one, right? Oh, no, Javert. Not John Valjean. Right.
Javert. And I'm Javert. All right, well, I'll say I'll mediate this a little bit, but the mediocre reviews on this, they sound really bad. They sound really hard on it. And you'll notice a theme.
Even
I don't
some
know
of
if you
the
pick up on it.
positive reviews sound pretty hard on it. Along the
now-
same theme. Because I know what you're
Now,
talking
Ned
about.
Kelly is an Australian hero, and the reviewer of this is Oz a Kevin. So I'll do an awful Australian accent over this entire review.
Oh, dear.
Bobby. There you go. And now, way people gonna watch this if you've done that in the movie. No, I've already lost it. You know what? We're done. We're just gonna stop it right there.
Thank God.
I realize, and I expect this movie is limiting the release because they know they ruin it. As far as I know, adult Ned Kelly has a beard, and you shouldn't remove it. Oh, come on. You're ruining good actors by making this movie. Also, you're adding too much Ned. Or you're adding too much Ned mom advice in here. People call this film History of Kelly and His Mom Advice. I actually pleased that you 3/4 successfully pictured who Ned Kelly is from pass until his death sentence. I will recommend this to my history nerd friend only, I guess. 1 out of 1 found this helpful. That was his history nerd friend.
I guess so. Here I got an 8 out of 10 from Malik Chi _2000. So I assume they were born in the year
Malachi?
2000.
Maybe it's Malachi.
No, it's well. I mean, I've never seen Malachi.
Yeah, it's Malachi.
Isn't there another A in Malachi?
Malachi.
AI? Isn't it AI?
It's like that's the old way to spell it.
Okay. Well, new fucking school reviewers. He was born in 2000, so I guess it's the new school way of spelling it.
And well, I guess I just want one more thing. He was the writer of the Book of Malachi, which is in the Old Testament. He was an old prophet.
Right. If you're not a Kelly Gang film for the Finkers. If you're not just another bogan looking for the glorification of Ned Kelly or another Australian history buff looking to have a tank at the accuracy of a story that's always been spotty at best, then here is a film for you, dripping with originality. It's a piece of cinematic pleasure worthy of a place on the shelf of great Australian films. Telling the audience from the outset, well, those who know how to read that, quote, nothing of what we are about to see here is true, then, unquote, then the words of Ned Kelly we have not really bothered to try and put to film before, the poet. The words, though not the Queen's English, but a version of language that drips lucidity in and around the narrative grammatical errors to form almost its own new kind of song. At this moment, I was hooked. An impressive performance for all involved, especially George McKay as the infamous kid himself, remembering that he was only 26 when hung. A special mention to Essie Davis, who hits the nail right on the head in her portrayal of a woman whose very existence is stuck in between a poisonous relationship with her children and her need to survive. The film is brooding, horrific, poetic, and a breath of fresh air for the otherwise stale story that has been told and told and told and told again. Don't let the sheep fool you into thinking it is unworthy of your attention. To not grant this film a couple hours of your life would be be off a great disservice to yourself. Just go in expecting nothing. When everyone found it helpful, and I need to forward Malachi's resume to Goop, because if he wouldn't fit in there, paid by the word, I see.
Well, Staffy Life 04430 would disagree with that because I gave it a 1 out of 10 and said it was an absolutely pathetic movie. Side note, there are no periods in this review. All exclamation points.
Okay, I'm
So,
ready.
how do you read a sentence with an exclamation point? Do you just uptick at the end, or do you
Uptick at the end.
Okay.
Like a really,
you don't say the whole
really
thing
forceful.
Okay.
I mean, you can yell the whole thing if you want, but typically that's all caps.
Yeah. Okay. All right, I got to get into the mindset of Staffy Life. This movie was absolutely pathetic. If you haven't seen it, don't. It's not worth your time. The scriptwriter, director, and producers and the funders of such a pathetic movie need to run out of the film industry. There's not 1 minute in this movie I regretted watching, and I watched it from start to finish. And the name is highly deceiving. But what do you expect from such a poor movie? 25 out of 45 found that helpful.
That was better than I ever hoped it'd be.
I
There
hope
were
you found it helpful, too.
there were a couple moments there where you sounded like Mr. Incredible's boss in The Incredibles of his office job.
Oh yeah, like Frank. That's Frank Oz, right?
I don't think it's Frank Oz, but
No.
it's someone of note.
Fuck. Look it up, Jake.
I'll
It's on you.
look it up while you read your review.
Okay. Well, first of all, shout out to Ferguson's 6 review. He gives it a 6 out of 10. And it is a 700-word review that is, for those of you who like to use 12-point font and single space and Word, that's 2 pages. And he starts it off with, "Greetings again from the darkness." So I'm not going to... You just go read it yourself
We're
if you
just
want.
not
I'm
gonna
not going to
touch
read the
that
whole
one.
thing for you. Huh?
I said we're just not going to touch that one. Wallace Shawn, I think, was
Okay.
his boss. So
Yes.
he's Vizzini
Yes.
from
Yeah.
Princess Bride.
Okay. I remember, like, it's some sort of
Yeah, it was a
classic
guy of-
voice from an 80s, 90s property.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna read you Saeedi Gajar's review. That's Saeedy Gujjar, Saidi Gujjar. I think that's Saidi Gujjar. Anyways, his 6 out of 10 review. 1 out of 1 person found this helpful. Okay. Ugly history. Very slow end. Although movie is good, hate their life.
Short and to the point. I like it.
I will copy the entire one for you to read at your own pace into the chat here.
Hate their life.
Hate their life. Double
Couldn't
comma.
say it better myself.
And that is literally as helpful by IMDb standards as your review, Kurt.
Yes, the fucking essay that someone
It's
like
the fucking horseshoe coming around on word count there.
Yeah, he fucking popped some Molly and wrote his goddamn review. All right. Well, that's a good. I think that's a good sampling of that right now.
Before we move on to any sort of gaming news, one last thing about any sort of movie stuff. On May the 4th, the last episode of Season 7 for the Clone Wars is coming out. So they're doing something special where they're coming out on Monday for the last episode. I just watched episode 11 last night. Or yesterday. It's fucking amazing. These past couple episodes have made Revenge of the Sith like levels and levels better. Now I know that kind of sucks that like a show had to come out before, but this is like supplemental material kind of showing the background inner workings of that movie that I think help lift it up. Standalone, it doesn't help the movie, but I think when you take them into account together, it's a really good movie, and these episodes of the Clone Wars have been phenomenal so far. So, highly recommend it. Maul is amazing. Ahsoka's amazing.
So, yeah, I saw it was on the front page. So I guess now we can add Revenge of the Sith Redeemed to list of things that happened in 2020.
Well,
I
no,
don't think
the
Revenge of the
movie
Sith was
isn't
ever like
redeemed.
hated.
It was always like, it's not great, but it's the best of the prequels. Like, there's a lot of dumb shit in Revenge of the Sith, and a lot of shit that don't make no sense as well. But I don't think the presence of a supplemental piece of media makes the movie any better. It makes the story around that time
Well,
better.
I mean, it helps me enjoy Revenge of the Sith more, or helps me remember things better. And I'm like, oh shit, that happened in Revenge of the Sith. That increases it in my value. I value it more than it was without it.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, if you go back and watch the movie, like, the movie's unchanged.
Yeah, no, it is. But this is just added information to it. Yeah, no, it makes the story better. But for that individual, it's because this never touches on Attack of the Clones, Clone Wars, or Episode 4, or any of those. It's just Revenge of the Sith because this is happening in parallel with the events of Revenge of the Sith.
Yes.
So
Okay.
it's fantastic stuff they did. Last episode they did mocap with Ray Park. Spoiler alert if you know who that
Oh,
is.
you were almost going to say with Ray Parker Jr.
No, but spoiler alert if you know who that is.
Yeah, he's got Maul. Everyone knows that.
I know, I figured everybody would, but I don't know how many people know that Maul is still alive. And the fact that he's one of the most important characters in all of Star Wars at this point, probably.
That's so weird.
Isn't it? It is. It is really weird. It actually is to the point where, like, the events of Clone Wars have kind of reshaped my view of Star Wars and how it sort of started with Maul, with him being one of the first apprentices of Sidious that we saw. And he tried to be the downfall of it.
Okay.
Sure.
I don't know this. Jake, you're losing me. Just in general.
Well, I don't want to give away
believe
too
you.
much. It makes a lot more sense.
Yes, but from a non-watcher perspective, these are all very hot takes. These are I got a bobble in my hands.
Well,
Such things like Episode 3 is made better by the show. Darth Maul is the most important character in Star Wars.
Well, I mean, like
What's happening?
the what he brought to the table and what he tried to do and what he could have done if done differently was basically overthrow the Emperor's entire plot. Because he
No, I'm sorry.
he
Just have nothing to say about this.
broke her.
Really
I
don't care
honestly
about
thought
the
Chris
Clone Wars.
disconnected 'cause
I don't
Starfall.
understand why though.
He's been
Because it's just I didn't like
You don't know.
the movie when the movie
The
came
reason
out.
is because you don't accept it as true Star Wars canon, and it is.
When the movie came out, it was generally panned by everyone who watched it. So I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking bother to see it. And then they did a spin-off show, and I'm like, well, why am I gonna watch the spin-off show of a movie I had no interest in seeing?
The fact is that it added so much to the story.
Well,
And
yeah,
lore
with 7
and-
years of hindsight, but 7 years ago, I didn't give a shit, and I haven't really been motivated to watch any of it now. Maybe I will when it's all over, but
It's
I
just
just
so
have
it-
zero.
It's so odd that you're
I'll-
such a big supporter of Star Wars, yet I think arguably one of the biggest pieces of media that is in Star Wars, which is the Clone Wars, you don't watch. And
Well, if it's one, all right. Let me put it. Let me add my argument. I'll throw my hat in this ring. I'll throw my little beanie in here. There'll be a crab inside, and it'll crawl out. If it is the biggest piece of media in the Star Wars franchise at this point, it certainly does not. It was not marketed as such. In terms of general viewing public audience, that would be like one of the garbagey new trilogy
I guess when I say
Probably fucking
biggest-
episode 9 or some shit.
it's more of content wise. I mean, you have 7 seasons where 20 minutes each, 20 episodes a season, up until season 5, I think. You add all that time together, there's a lot of Clone Wars content out there, but it's spread across various characters, so it's not just following Rey and whoever.
So, then I'll add this last one here. I'll say with you that I think yes, probably if I watched the whole thing, I'd gain a fucking new appreciation for a lot of this stuff. I don't disagree there. I think this. My brain is drawing comparisons to like Avatar, Last Airbender in terms of TV show, ostensibly for a young or teenage audience with a lot of good themes in it that tells the story really well. I think that I would guess that this story has a little more accessibility issues than Avatar, because it's not only is it like, oh, it's an animated show for teenagers, why would I watch that? So a lot of the general public viewing audience is already like fucking off in the distance here. And then you also have to add on to the layer of, this is an animated show for the 18 to, or I guess the 13 to 8, whatever those demographics are, that also will interest you if you're a fan of the prequels. And that's going to fucking hunk off another chunk of the viewing audience there, or if you don't know about the prequels. Yeah. So, like, you're just shaving off, like, people who would be immediately hooked by this premise and this concept.
So I struggle to find...
The gold may be there, but, like, the ports for, like, I totally want to watch this show are different compared to, like, Avatar. Or, even in the Star Wars universe, The Mandalorian. Because The Mandalorian is, like... the prerequisite is still like,
And I mean,
you
these
have
are going to
to
tie
enjoy
right
the
into
Star
The
Wars.
Mandalorian, too. Like, Season 7 ties right into The Mandalorian. It ties into Episode 3. The only thing
Why
it
does
hasn't...
why does it tie into everything?
It
That's
just ties into
weird.
those two things. It wouldn't tie into anything in the new movies. Those are too far in the future. Yeah, no, just Mandalorian. The only reason why it's the Mandalorian is because most of Season 7 happens on Mandalore. I'd say
Okay.
a third of it happens on Mandalore. So,
Okay.
because I think we might see in the next episode, but it might go into like the Siege of Mandalore. It might. I don't know if it will or not.
Sure.
Because they
right.
talked about it so many times in The Mandalorian.
I think in summary, we can say that it's good. So you can say
fantastic.
that the season is...
It's fantastic,
Okay.
and I think it transcends like age groups for who enjoy it. Because I've talked to more maybe that's probably because more of my communication has been with adults.
Because you don't talk to little kids.
But I mean, I've talked to
Not since he got
friends
a talk to from the sheriff department.
yeah, I've talked to friends of similar age who love this. My old boss used to watch it. I think he would watch it and then he would have his kid watch it after him because he'd be like, "Hey, catch up on Clone Wars and Rebels." But he really enjoyed it, and he was a diehard Star Wars fan too.
Okay.
So
I think that's...
I don't know how many people who... I don't know where the age group really hits, but I think it hits all over the place. Because it has mature themes. It gets fucking dark, too.
Well, regardless, for people who have maybe watched a little bit of that show and not finished it up, that's good news to hear for them, that that these latest episodes are #fire.
Yeah, if people have been waiting for like the whole season to come out because they were coming out weekly, on Monday, the last episode will be out. If you want to skip things that aren't pivotal, you can just watch from like episode 8 or 9 and watch the 12, and that'll be fine.
Okay. On the games news. Summer Gaming Fest is the summer gaming event here to replace E3. E3 2020 has been shit canned because of the coronavirus pandemic, but this series of digital presentations from industry stalwarts will be here to take its place. It will run from May to August, so we won't have a big Games Fest special episode like we have had with E3 in the past, because it'll hopefully be more spread out. But what they're calling Phase 1, May to August, these publishers are lined up to present. We have 2K, Activision, Bandai Namco, Bethesda, Blizzard, Bungie, CD Projekt Red. I don't recognize that Japanese studio. EA, Sony, Riot. I'm gonna try to read these. Riot, Private, Division. I still can't read that other one. Square Enix, Steam, Warner Brothers, and Microsoft's Xbox division. So be on the lookout for news from those people. I don't have a completed schedule in front of me. However, rumor abounds that the PlayStation 5 will have a big announcement for it on June 4th, which possibly is Sony's day to go in the Game Fest. That seems like a good platform to announce that on. So were I a betting man, I would say that it's probably when Sony's going to go, at the very least.
Were I a betting man, I would have lost my house and many of the things I own.
Blizzard. Okay, so new Assassin's Creed game is coming out. This time set in a Viking setting.
Yes, Valhalla.
Had to be that or Japan. Those are the only two like left.
I know, right? They've done.
Don't want to do Japan because
Pirates.
Sekiro's out.
Yeah, give
Yeah,
that a
true. Maybe they're
little
waiting for
time
that to die down a little bit.
Yeah,
Because they've done like Pirates. They've done everything. Italy, England,
Greek, English, like American Revolution,
American Revolution. Yeah, with the Indians stuff. Sorry, Native Americans. Whatever. Fuck it.
So they opted instead of going against Sekiro to go against God of War.
Yeah. Well, yeah. When you said God of War, I immediately think of like the original God of War. I'm like, well, that was great. They already did Odyssey, but yeah, the 2019
once
God
again.
of War.
Shit. I want to talk a second about there was some drama yesterday around the announcement. So they came out with the pre-order package. All with the remember, like your $200 pre-order package with all the gadgets and gadgets and doohickeys that you get with it. And if you look up,
it's the
if you
opposite
all want
of a
to look
gadget.
up the pre-order package, pre-order figurine, go look up the pre-order figurine, and you tell me why gamers would be angry at it. I'll give you a second here. If you can't find it, I will reveal I will spill the tea on this hot fucking this flaming issue.
Is that a girl?
It's a girl.
Wait, where did you post this?
So male gamers can't relate to the pre-order figurine because it is a girl, and there are people who want to not buy the pre-order. They're like, we should boycott this pre-order. I'm never gonna pre-order Assassin's Creed again because the figurine, that's an extra figurine that I get with my $200 pre-order, is a woman and not one that I can jack off onto.
I'm pretty sure that it's a very small segment of the player base that's like that. And number two, there are a myriad reasons you should never pre-order an Assassin's Creed game.
I agree. I agree
No, that's
with
the
that.
entire player base. I know Assassin's Creed players. That's everybody.
I'm bringing this up just because I caught it on subreddit drama, and it was too fun to not at least bring up.
Yeah, like I can understand. Like, I mean, reactions to that are always overblown, but like sometimes it's like when they wanted to put the female soldiers in Battlefield 1 or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, okay. Like, if they're in segments other than the French Resistance, you can make an argument about it. It's not historically accurate. But then you can make an argument, is that the goal of this game?
I thought everybody was pissed about her robot hand.
What?
Prosthetic.
Oh, I don't.
I
She had a prosthetic that people were like, there weren't any prosthetics like that back then. And she's a woman.
No, So this is the main
actual
character,
Battlefield
right?
players speaking.
Remind me on this. Does Assassin's Creed have like choose your gender? Do they usually have that?
Not typically.
No, because I think the main character was like a guy, and he would go back and.
Well, there are several
with the
different.
Animus.
Yeah, like the Animus is like the only mainstay character for the series at this point, because the original guy, he's gone after Assassin's Creed 2.
Gone. Yeah.
And
I have
then
no idea what the story
it's been a different guy every time since. And then they had like all this popes and Templar bullshit, and then Assassin's Creed came. Assassin's Creed 4 came out, and they're like, let's just forget all that. We'll put that in a nice box labeled whoops, and we'll start it again. And then I think they fucked it up again. I don't know where it's at now.
They get the golden apple, and take away free choice, freedom of speech. Take that away from people.
Take away our Second Amendment rights.
Take away the right to your own
regardless,
firearms.
the point I was trying to make is in Valhalla, if you can choose your gender.
Oh, okay.
Of your main character, you can be like, are you a boy or a girl, Professor Oak style? And so they chose to put the female model of the main character, as the prefigurine instead of the male
Well,
model.
I will say one thing. It is kind of weird because women are inferior to men.
I
Had to know that was coming.
There's a non-zero part of my mind that's like, oh, he's just gonna fucking do it.
No. Women, stay with me. No. No, it's weird because in the trailer they did have the male, what I assume is the male version of the character, like be the main focus of that trailer, and it looked badass. So like you would think you showcase this badass male character, and then you follow it up with, here's the pre-order, you can buy him as a figurine for your collection. Where instead they're like, here's some other girl.
I mean,
I want to find some of the quotes from this thread, just because they're fucking hilarious.
Like, it is kind of.
She doesn't have any boobs.
All right, I like this. I like this one from the drama thread. If I have the choice, I'll play as a male character. For example, the Elder Scrolls don't do it for me as a female. I need the battle grunts and interactions to be closest to myself as possible.
Well, there's something like when I have a choice to choose gender, I almost 100% choose male, and if I can customize appearance, I try to get as close to myself as possible because that's how I enjoy RPGs. I like to insert myself into the character in the game. There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't do that at all.
Sorry, no gingers in Valhalla. You get sent straight to the hell part.
I like this one. Exactly for this reason, I'm not buying the collector's edition for the first time in years. Going for the ultimate edition combined with the separate male figurine. They can shove their female figurine up their Niflheim.
Wow, that's bad. But Jake, are you trying to suggest that there are no people that look like me in Valhalla?
Yeah.
No one like some sort of guy named Eric.
No.
What was his last name? The Red?
Yeah, no, well, he didn't get to go to Valhalla. He was sent right to the untouchable zone.
Jake's taint?
What?
Because Jake,
What's that fucking face, Jake? Is that gamer moment face,
Jake's
Jake?
making a face like he has to take a shit, and I'm concerned.
Well, I
that we're
do,
gonna
but I
have to
mean, like, I had to make the rules, man. Did that? Talk to Odin. Get his Raven over here and talk to him about that.
Wotan.
To Wotan.
Wotan.
Odin, who was, I believe, himself a
Mayhem
redhead.
10 Wotan. Oh, God.
No. Did you see Thor? Ragnarok or any other ones?
Wait. Oh, no. I just figured out what the fucking porn name of Thor Ragnarok is. Thor Gag on Cock.
What the fuck?
Yeah, probably.
Odin.
And it's Hulk and Thor, like a big green dude and a Thor-looking dude, like spit roasting a girl.
Yeah, dude. His hair was gray.
I mean,
'Cause he's old.
When he's old, yeah, but I believe in his younger days he was described as auburn-haired. I don't know that for sure. It's in my head for some reason.
Dang, that's some auburn-looking beard.
I believe that's Thor.
I just looked up Odin, Norse god of
think-
war and magic.
I think that one is Odin, because Odin he has a spear. He's got his wolves.
All right, yeah.
Does he have the eye patch?
I didn't see the eye patch or Raven, so I'm like, I don't think that's Odin.
No,
the fandom
all
agrees.
wrong. It's purple. Obviously.
Of course.
But-
what DeviantArt page did you snip this from?
The Google images.
She-Thor is out. She-Thor is not out yet, so therefore no women can exist in Scandinavia.
Oh, here we go.
That's it.
Here's your.
Oh,
One of them.
Well, he's not Odin, but he's tattooed like you, and I think that's some red locks. But he's the bad guy, isn't he?
Well, all the Norse gods were bad guys in God of War.
Oh.
except for the god of skiing. He's cool.
He's a chill god.
I need to remember which one that was, because there is an actual Norse god of skiing.
There are several Norse gods
Quick
that do
Google,
have red hair.
and
I know that much.
it's Uller. It's Uller. He's the Norse god of snow, the patron saint of skiers, stepson of Thor.
Oh, here's a depiction of Thor with red hair.
Oh,
And we're also talking about mythical people that are never been around and just what we think they are.
Yeah.
now I like this artist rendition. I think he gets the shading really right here. I think
It's gonna be a
he's got
big
all the.
dick. I'm gonna be mad.
Oh god damn it! No, why is this link so long?
Heimdall, also
Ah.
red hair.
Here we go. No, come here.
Farrier, god of
here we go.
fertility, also red hair. That one makes sense.
Why?
Here we go. Yeah.
Why?
All right. So
It's for audience to
I think this one
interpret.
really gets it right.
Why? Why does it make sense? You have a big announcement? Make an oopsie?
Look what Goop has done to us.
I did not.
We've become controversial.
First
time ever.
Yeah, we've never said anything
Speaking of
controversial
goop,
before.
or do we still have video games?
We got some stuff.
sidetracked on the Valhalla stuff.
PlayStation 5 developer has confirmed that a major potential roadblock to having full backwards compatibility with PS4, 3, 2, and 1 games on your PS5 is licensing issues. It's the same reason why you can't buy Jet Set Radio Future anymore because of licensing issues with the soundtrack. Somehow they got Jet Grind Radio or Jet Set Radio to be cleared, but haven't gotten JSRF remastered. So
Wait, on that one, they can fix all the. They can tighten it up.
yeah, there's definitely things that could be tightened in that game. I love it, but it's a bit of a mess in places.
It is a bit of a launch title.
Gilded raises $7 million for a development of a gaming chat platform that will be focused on competitive gamers. It sounds a bit like a rival platform for Discord, but the San Francisco company has convinced some veteran investors to give it some money. The emphasis is going to be on staying organized and communicating with your team. I think Discord does a decent enough job of that on its own, but hey, if these people want to make their own platform, competition is good for everyone. The Epic Games Store is now requiring two-factor identification for redeeming free giveaway games. So you'll have to set up some two-factor ID for your Epic Games account, which is generally just a security measure you should have in place in general. Big fan of two-factor ID myself. And then in future news, AMD and Intel's war has now reached the point where entry-level CPUs can be had with 4 cores and 8 threads, which just a few years ago was a high-end CPU thread count, and can be had for as little as $120. So the AMD Ryzen 3 3300X has 4 cores and 8 threads with a base clock of 3.8 gigahertz, a boost clock, single core, of 4.3 gigahertz. No all-core boost given, but most Ryzen chips you could probably expect about a 4.0 or 4.1 all-core boost. It's usually a few hundred megahertz below single-core boosts, especially on the lower core chips. You can also overclock them, so you could potentially hit 4.3 all-core just anyway at all times. 65-watt TDP and a price of $120. And on the Intel side, the Core i3 10100 has 4 cores and 8 threads as well, 3.6 gigahertz based, 4.3 gigahertz single core boost, and a 4.1 gigahertz all-core boost, also 65 watts, $122. So the platform's a little cheaper on AMD. Also, you have a more reasonable upgrade path. So if I had to pick, I'd recommend going AMD. But if for some reason you want Intel in your system, that's also a that's the best value chip Intel has released since like the 9400F. And even that was, a bit more limited than this, in my opinion. So exciting things for the future. Great time to get into PC gaming. Parts be
Especially
cheap.
with Destroy All Humans coming July 28th, the remake. I remember having a blast with that game back in the day. So I'm probably going to get that one.
All right.
Speaking of destroying all humans.
Yeah.
One last thing. I don't think we said it.
Okay. Yes, Jake, you in the back.
Rest in peace, Sam Lloyd.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sam Lloyd, who is
that was that was last night.
yeah.
I think it was like
I hadn't heard
whenever
about
I saw
this.
that.
This is
the lawyer
this is,
from Scrubs, Ted.
Yes.
He passed away, 52. He had a brain
This was
tumor.
not-
I think he got diagnosed with it last year. So things must have turned for the worst.
Yeah, he had been in
So-
poor health for a while, was my understanding. Sam Lloyd, yes, is related to Christopher Lloyd, actor portrayed Doc Brown, I believe. He's his uncle. A little bit of a family resemblance.
Yeah, a little bit.
So,
56,
that's sad. That's too young. That's far too young.
Yeah, definitely. And he was still doing things. Like he was still on Modern Family.
Yeah, his acapella band I
West
think was
Wing,
touring.
Cougar Town. He also did stuff in Malcolm in the Middle and Desperate Housewives and Seinfeld. So he was in a lot of things. But I think he was best known for Scrubs. He was the reoccurring character there.
Yes, that was definitely his most famous role. Just like Gwyneth Paltrow's most famous role is as a sociopathic snake oil salesman in Goop Lab.
Yeah, definitely beats out Pepper Potts.
Goop Loop.
Oh boy, Goop Lab. Where do we even start with this? It's so dense. So densely packed in bullshit. Each episode is only 35 minutes long, and there's only 6 episodes. So this was like 3.5 hours of content. But I'll tell you this, it felt like at least 7 times as much.
That's because you weren't drinking.
I was
Well, I don't know if you were
stoned,
drinking.
and I was drinking a little bit.
There were so many times that I said, "What? No." Just like the amount of just statements that they make that are just like Kurt said, I think in the text, just citations were needed but not included.
Yeah.
Just like, where the fuck is your source, dude?
I have I've got a bunch of notes here, my Goop Lab notes. And if I did a word count, if I had typed this and done a word count of every time the phrase citation needed appeared in here, it would probably number well above 20.
Because they make some pretty outlandish claims, like
Oh, for sure.
curing anxiety.
Like fasting
and
will
shit like
cure
that.
cancer. That was my favorite.
I like the one. I second episode had some reasonable stuff in it, but it started out with breathing techniques will stop you from contracting E. coli.
Yeah.
I think the most credible was maybe the first episode, which was the
I did not feel
psychedelic
that.
one.
I
All
felt
right, so let me.
the most credible
right.
was the diet one because
Oh, I thought
it was
most
the
credible
least
was,
outlandish.
episode 2 or 3. So we all have. It's interesting. Now we all have different opinions on which parts had all reasonable medical advice in there. So this. Oh man.
I mean, I
Oh
don't
man,
know.
I don't know. We're gonna go into a territory we've never.
I don't know how
been
you
in
can.
before. Not since the Pokemon debates have we been this divided on a subject.
I don't know that you can really look at episode 2, like for all the mental health benefits supposedly of like cold water. like it's
When that
just-
girl said, "I haven't had a panic attack since," and I'm like, "What was that like 2 weeks ago?"
and I'm working with my
And-
psychiatrist to like wean me off my medication. What is the psychiatrist thinking in all this? Oh, okay, we're gonna wean you off anti-anxiety meds because some fucking crazy Dutch bastard threw you in a lake. Because
I mean,
Well, I will say, like, I don't think that it helped with that. I don't think it's gonna do that. I liked episode 2 because everything they did in it is shit that like people already do. Breathing exercises is a thing people do. Yoga is a thing people do. Fucking cold exposure has been a Finnish like folk remedy and just thing to do in the winter since like for hundreds of years, where they didn't do the sauna into the snow. They just did the snow part of it. But shit, like you talk to when you think of like sauna, that I think that's what I think is like the other half.
Yeah, I
of it.
thought
It's
that
running out of the fucking nice warm place into the goddamn cold and be like, ah, Jesus.
I'm sure there were some credible stuff with that. I mean, he did say that he was in some scientific studies. However, they did not really disclose a lot of that stuff. I don't know why.
Of these
It makes me
studies.
wonder.
And some of the natures of these studies seemed like a little sort of very unethical, and no scientist would ever want to participate in.
Yeah. And at the end of that second episode, I know they all jump in the cold water, and I was like, oh, well, that's not so bad. That's like polar bears.
Yeah, when he's like
So,
38
we're all from New York.
and I'm like, I guarantee you that's warmer than the fucking air they're in right now. Like it's
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Both of you guys know what polar
Yeah,
bears
polar
are,
bear-
right?
polar bear
they
plunges,
line
yeah.
up on Rockaway Beach and they all just fucking run in there and it like just thawed and they're like, oh my god, it's cold. It's like, yeah, no shit.
They always
It's great.
try
And
to get
hundreds
us
of
to do
people
it.
can do it, and it's fine.
Yeah, like I used to summer swim, and like summer swim practices were in the lake because it's summer, and like the lake would just thaw. It's like April, and they're like, "Okay, kids, jump in there." I'm pretty sure I've been in some 40 some odd degree water, swimming 4,000 yards.
Yeah. And so all of that combined with Wim Hof being a generally positive person who's interested in health, at least in a good way. He wants to like actually help people feel better, even if, methodology, yikes. But for those reasons, I'm like, I'm fine.
Wim
with
Hof
this.
is
It's a guy
just
who's
fucking
generally personable and wants to hang out with people, and a lot of things that people are already doing for health. That's popular, whether or not it's effective. But shit,
If Wim Hof is what Hugh Hefner would be if Hugh Hefner were an Eskimo. Like when he was in there with all those girls in their fucking one pieces having a snowball fight, I'm like, this is just a horny old man who conned his way
Yeah.
into having some young
Yeah.
ladies stripped out in front of him.
I almost need to add a factor in for scantily clad women into my model here. But as I said, let me reveal this before we talk about the episodes. So I've made my drinking game. It is comprised of, let me count how many rules we have here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 rules. 12 commandments even. Now, not all of them are drinking. The first two are not drinking rules because they are so pervasive that it's easier to just be drunk and yell at the screen instead of taking a drink.
Okay.
So whenever someone makes a dubious medical claim, just yell at the screen. Just yell bullshit at the screen. Just be like, that's fucking bullshit. Don't do that. Just be loud at the screen. Fine. When Gwyneth like vacantly nods or just stares into space, yell at Gwyneth.
Earth to Gwyneth.
Wow.
Come the fuck in here. All right. So those are the two. I found that those rules make it a lot easier, so you're not just chugging the whole time.
Okay.
And it gives you something to do when you are 2 sheets to the wind.
Right.
All right, so those outside. The actual drinking rules now. You take a drink when you figure out what the actual fuck the episode's supposed to be about. Because they start off with a lot of vague bullshit before they're like, no, this is actually about dieting. Or this is about, like, cold exposure stuff.
Psychic medium.
They're just like, I went into a fucking world, man. I went into a thing. It's my panic attacks went away, and it's like claim. Oh, hey, that's what the actual episode's about. For each expert that's introduced, that is about 2 to 5 drinks per episode. I put some generic ones in here for notable editing. Take a drink when there's just a weird edit.
Right.
Whenever someone in the background or foreground just sort of breaks, they're like. And they're just, or they make some weird ass face, like the co-star there,
Elise.
who
That woman is all
I really
teeth.
feel
her gums are as long as her
She's
teeth.
got like this dead. She's got like this dead inside face where she's like,
yeah, there's not much going on there because her only like primary function is to just fillet Gwyneth Paltrow's ego at every available opportunity. So she's always on the hunt for her next opportunity to keep her job.
She reminded me a lot of my ex, and I had some troubling times with that.
oh no, traumatic.
I was like, oh, that fucking hairstyle.
All right, so whenever they make a weird face, whenever they do a face like that, whenever I said the first time that people stop smiling every episode, when they stop like they're I guess it's in the same vein. This could probably be combined into one, but I separated them in this case. Take a drink every time Gwyneth interrupts someone. She just starts talking in the middle of someone's sentence.
Yeah, I do that. Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, I could never do that.
No. Hello.
Wim Hof's trying to say how he takes cold showers or some shit, and she's like, "Oh my god,
my husband takes cold showers, and he's basically Jesus."
Take a drink whenever someone asks a leading question, like a very obviously leading question. So, cold therapy, does that make your dick bigger? Really, has it been shown that to make your dick exactly 3 inches bigger by going in the cold water? Yes, it actually does. We've been
not when you're in the water.
Take a drink every time someone has a sudden backstory. They're like, you're just going along, and she's like, "Yeah, so why do you want to do MDMA?" She's like, "Well, I've had some anxiety." Next person is like, I want to see what's out there. Third person, my dad committed suicide, and I'm on the verge of my death myself every day.
Every day is
like,
pain.
Oh, Jesus, came out left field on that one.
There's a lot of stuff like that. My favorite,
you
though,
need drugs.
I need to talk about this before I forget this overarching theme. So, in episode 1, they go to Jamaica to do magic mushrooms in Molly to fucking cure their anxiety and depression. They're like, "Oh my god, it cured my depression. Oh my god, it was such a great experience." And then they do the same thing with the fucking Winhoff in the cold water. They're like, "Oh my god, it cured my anxiety and depression." And then they get to the invisible massage dude. And Elise is sitting there and she's like, "So what's your pain you're carrying?" "Oh, it's just a lot of anxiety." I'm like, "You mean to tell me the magic mushrooms and cold showers did not cure your depression and anxiety?"
Well, she wasn't in on those. She didn't go.
She went to Jamaica. She went to Jamaica. She was there. She upgraded to first class. She flipped off the cameraman. Yeah. She laughed. She said
she was laying down on the thing in her weird spandex onesie. Yeah. So yes. Turns out they just keep it. They reset. They Metroid after every episode.
Entire premise. That was my favorite bit of self-contradiction.
Yeah, these are the two heavy hitters.
Maybe that didn't work with her then. Maybe the mushrooms didn't.
Shock horror. They didn't work.
Whenever someone comes up, whenever someone says what is ostensibly like a true science fact, there are some general actual facts in here. I'm not talking about the studies they do where they claim a lot of shit. I'm talking about things like if you go into cold water, you may go into thermal shock.
Yeah, well, not at
yes, that's a thing that can happen. Very true. I'll be like, you got that one. You got that one right. Okay, I'll take a shot. That's why it's a shot. And then this one is the one. This is the pacer. This is the one that keeps you with the bottle in your hand for the entire night. And that is whenever they do a dissolve transition through a white screen, you take a drink. And that's the one that's the baseline. That'll keep you drinking for the whole night. Then you get... So what happened for me is I went about... This got me pretty toasted into 3 episodes in, which is good. You're there at 3 episodes. You're just taking little drinks all the time. You're catching it. You're engaged with the show. You're like, that's fucking bullshit. Oh my God, they really did that transition again. Holy shit, where'd this story come from? And you're on it, you're going, and I was about 2 sheets to the wind and 1 tin of anchovy in around episode 5 and 6. And episode 5 and 6, we can unequivocally agree, is where the bullshit just cascades in like a fucking mountain.
My goodness.
And I'm so glad I was drunk by the time that came through, where I could be like, oh, fuck you, this is bullshit.
It was the fucking invisible masseuse and the medium back to back, and it was just they both
This is-
another good one is like take a drink every time they use energy as a catch-all fucking thing to explain anything they can't explain. They're like, oh, it's just the
I like that
energy
one.
that's flowing through us. We can direct it. We can manipulate it. Like the medium one, like she's still talking about energy. I had to check that like I wasn't on the same fucking episode, but no, apparently that's all it is. You have fucking screens like you're in Papers, Please, and it's like the other side people coming on your.
Yep. Usually your father comes in through my upper left screen, and your mother's side comes in through my bottom left screen. Just talk with their hands
It was
way too much.
Yes.
It was kind of genius how they're trying to con you on this. So first of all, like the whole setup of it's amazing how much comes together in that 6th episode, because first you have to get through 5 episodes.
Not an easy
time
task
for them to be like, right? They're like, are they gone? Are all the people we're going to be skeptical about this gone? All right, here's the bullshit. It's like in Scientology where you get to like the 3rd level. And they're like, all right, we weeded out the maybe skeptical people. We just have the people who are just going to just believe whatever we say. Now we dump Xenu on them. That's like this. You're 6 episodes in, weed out the non-believers or whatever.
I would say episode
Now-
5 was more like out there than episode 6. The energy field shit.
Yeah.
I thought that was like.
Oh my god! When they,
fuck?
I
when
think
they
they did a more blatant job in episode
yeah, they cut
6.
to that, and the fucking
So-
girls making these noises. I'm like, well, thank God we just had the episode where they learned how to orgasm.
Wow. Yeah. But yeah, so they do a lot of, so to prove to you that psychic isn't bullshit, they do the thing. They're like, they lampshade hang. We're like, don't a lot of people say that psychic power is bullshit? It's called cold reading, and we definitely don't fucking do that, even though she literally does it. And like they even set it up where the skeptical girl goes in as this audience surrogate to have her to be medium red, and it doesn't work for her.
No, not at all.
And you're like thinking it's the setup. You're like, wow, they actually admit that it doesn't work. Maybe this is some scientific credibility. So scientific credibility, however fucking vague, is supposed to be floating around in your head. When fucking off from left field, the producer, the camera girl's like, "Oh, it was me the whole time. Psychic powers are real."
Gio.
And you're like, your
My
scientific
grandma's
credibility is
twist.
it's like a fucking Reese's cup.
And of course-
you're thinking about and they smash
And
together.
the medium's like, yeah, okay, this can
Yeah,
happen.
That can happen.
Our-
That can definitely happen. The
A
lines.
wire's gonna be. Sometimes I'm reading somebody over in Staten Island, and sometimes I'm reading somebody in San Diego.
Which is just
So,
a
it
fucking
happens.
perfect like
And
deflect any criticism. But like I knew they were gonna pull, not just because they saw the JonTron episode, but I knew they were gonna pull some shit like this because like this show is so fucking heavily edited that there's no way in hell they were gonna leave in a clip that contradicted anything.
Yeah, for real. Now, the icing on this cake is that they do claim like they had no contact with her between it. Now, that could actually be true because what could happen is they know there's a camera girl. Like they talk, all the staff talks with each other. Everyone's chilling. They know, like, oh, Janine or Janan, she's got a wedding in a couple weeks down in Mexico. Her dad wanted to do a thing. Isn't it cool? She had like the thing with a donkey. That's a pretty cool idea. And then the medium comes in and they're like, I need to do a reading. Can we do something? And Gwen's like, oh, I fucking know. Get the camera girl in there. Like, so the third party arranges it, and she's like, no, you got to ask. You just got to put it out there about like Mexico and donkeys, okay? And it'll happen. We'll work it. So she never had to actually disclose this information to the medium.
No.
They didn't have to prearrange it. It just had to be out there in the social network of facts, of things people knew about each other, and whoever was in charge of the episode could just arrange
Like
for that.
it certainly
Yeah, and-
felt scripted at times, like with the Asian girl that they had to teach what a vibrator was. She like had like some childhood memory that like was brought up in the thing. She's like, I had forgotten about that, but you know, it was a very real emotion. And I was like in my head, I'm like, what she's really thinking, I had forgotten about that because I didn't study the script they gave me very closely.
Oh, that episode was a trip, dude. I didn't know Netflix was allowed to do some of those things.
Oh my fucking god! Like,
I'm glad they at least did it instead of, because like they were so this episode is about women's like
vulvas.
basic fucking sex ed. Some really basic things like you can orgasm as a woman if you don't have perfect lips, like perfect labia.
What, you mean like these
it's
lips?
fine. These things happen. Those little lips. Which I think is something that's important. I honestly think there is, in my understanding of the world, I think there is a significant portion of women who just don't know anything. They're like really uneducated
honestly,
about this
if
stuff.
you want to say like which episode was arguably the most important, I think, or the one that like I would recommend to other people, it'd probably be this episode.
yeah,
episode
this
3.
one they made
Because-
very little. That was like completely factually inaccurate. They made a lot of conjectures, like they basically implied it's almost impossible for a woman to like orgasm just through regular sex. I'm like, well, I'm kind of offended by that because that's kind of my shtick.
Yeah, I want to say it's like I think it's like I want to say 1 in 6 can go just from that. Like, and every woman's different.
Then I just have like great luck because I've never had issues with this before. I think that like it's a little bit dubious is what I'm trying to say. But
for sure,
like there's very little information presented as information that is like completely disprovable.
A lot of it is banal, like sexual education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anyways, they're talking about.
I think you'd be surprised at how many people don't get proper sex education, and especially in females, where a lot of it is like stigmatized and
Public school bus. That's the best place to get your sex ed.
yeah.
I learned more about sex there than I did anywhere else in my life.
Well, I think of like people who had private like Catholic school education, and that shit they don't tell you anything about it. So you have to basically learn it yourself through the internet or some shit, or not learn it at all in the case of some people. So
I think about women who don't know that the urethra and the vagina are different orifices.
But there are women who don't know that.
But anyways, they're doing all this talking about the lower female anatomy, and they do show some nudity, but they're showing like top half nudity until like a certain point. I'm like, you're talking about the lower anatomy. Are you going to actually show this to the women who are trying to watch this for information?
And they're like teasing it. You can like kind of see the edge of it in one
like,
shot.
It's like, just
are they
fucking.
gonna do it?
And then it's like,
they're just like
bam! And they're like, and then they cut back to the meeting. It's like, you can't just show one. And so they show like everyone's vagina. And that's when I learned that no one who works at Goop owns a razor. Not a one of them.
I don't know if those are. I hope those were in Goop employees. I don't know who they were.
That would be.
I don't know who they were.
I don't know. Like, I assume
I feel
as
that
much.
it's an HR violation. Like what Elise said. It's like, yeah, I smell a huge HR violation, and I'm like, yeah.
I don't
Probably.
know. Well, I smelled a number of HR violations in this entire series. I think this might have been like towards the bottom of the list. Let's send you all the fucking do hard drugs in Jamaica and jump in this cold water.
Well, they were legal.
I don't know how big their HR department is, considering their receptionist is just one lady in an empty room on a desk. I love that shot that they used they used 2 or 3 times, where it's just the empty room with a couch and just one lady is like, "Welcome to Goop
I
HQ."
love that they put the fucking self-aggrandizing intro into every fucking episode. Which is like, my calling was more than just like making out with Matt Damon on screen, and then like Goop is so big, and they're having this like board meeting explaining what Goop is to the people who work at Goop. I guess, like, what the fuck was the purpose of this meeting? Like, it's supposed to explain the show, and like, but it's filmed as like a candid boardroom meeting sort of thing, and I'm like, what? These people work here. Of course, they know what the mission of Goop is.
So I think the most damning piece of the comparison that you can make that's easily, people will be like, oh, I get it, okay, is compare this show that's trying to report scientific, like, medical claims, quote unquote claims, in a poppy and entertaining way with a personable host and lots of things to try.
Are you trying to compare this to Nova?
Science. I'm going to compare this to Mythbusters.
Oh, okay.
Also a poppy science thing that looks to try and inform people. Now, granted, Mythbusters does also not always hit the nail on the head with regard to scientific accuracy, but they certainly do tests that are like provable. They have results. They get numbers in.
They definitely apply more of
the numbers they get in are not the biological. The age one was so silly. Like the diets, I'm like, yes, vegan diets, if done properly, sure. Pescatarian diets, sure. Fasting 500 calories a day is not a fast. That's just fucking starving yourself. Yeah. It's not how fasting works.
Yeah, that one was good.
But they do like your biological age is different from your chronological age. I'm like, okay, so maybe the healthy people inside, you're like, you look 40, but you have the internal body of like a 20-year-old.
That I can understand.
Wow.
Sure.
But it's one fucking year that's like different. And they're like, oh, it's so much younger. And I'm like, that's not going to make a difference in your actuarial tables.
And of course, this was my favorite because of course Gwyneth Paltrow had the biggest reduction in age. I'm sure they cooked the numbers to make that, because at the end they're like, "Oh, you're so amazing, Gwyneth!" Clap, 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 and it's like, "Oh,
yeah."
Now
you had your blood put back into your face. Oh, cool.
we rendered the fat out of your blood and basted it on your face
with this fucking vibrator."
But let's take this a step further, because this is another thing I want to talk about. First of all, let's all remind everyone why the show exists: to promote Goop and their products for health. And it's a path that leads you takes you from drugs and yoga, which are like things people know, takes you all the way to the crystals and energy, which is where Goop sits, and the things you buy at Goop. Yeah. So let's go episode by episode and talk about the shit that they would try and sell you, a product based on that episode, right? Episode 1, maybe not psilocybin tea, but like an essential oil tea that'll be like calming and relaxing and get your brain
different
out there.
Herbs, and they sell teas in their wellness store. I checked up on them a little bit. Prices are outrageous.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Bathrobes and the Wim Hof Snoga DVD.
Snoga, I popped so hard when they called it Snoga. I'm like, Snoga!
Do they have that on the Goop?
Which just consists of doing trunk twists. Doing horse poses and doing trunk twists.
And I'm like, yes, this is killing E. coli as I speak. I cannot be sick because I'm doing horse pose.
This is an entire regimen of yoga. So those DVDs are episode 2. Episode 3, vibrators. Sell you a vibrator. Sell you a self-help book. Sell you any number of fucking sex books.
That one's pretty.
They have tons of vibrators on their website.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did you not watch John Tron's videos on Goop?
No, I actually didn't. I went in blind to this, so I have not had any context from him. Episode 4 is definitely that fast mimicking diet. That box that she gets is absolutely the product for that 100%. Episode. And notice, so Gwyneth gets to have the product, show you the product, show you all the things that are in the product. Look, here's what's in the packages. It's tea and it's bars and
then
stuff.
Show you how great it works.
It totally worked the best for you.
Show how it's the best one. And that so happens that this is the one that's available for purchase from Goop. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Episode 5, crystals. All that energy, any energy shit that she peddles.
The stickers.
Any of those rocks, any of that stuff that'll affect your aura. That's the entirety, like that whole section.
Well,
of the
Peter, I can tell you that
and then 6.
They sell stickers that have stored energy in them for proprietary technology.
Yeah, I saw that. Now I did see the Goop episode. I had not.
Oh no, okay, that's what I was referring to. Because I'm like, a lot of these products, like the vampire, psychic vampire repellents.
Yes. The what is it? The metal straw. It's just a fucking straw. Oh wait, no. The episode 3, the sex ed one. They'll definitely sell you that weighted dumbbell that's made of stainless steel, which as a person, not even as anyone who knows anything about the female anatomy, other than it's the only thing I know about the female anatomy that I could speak confidently on is that it's sensitive to changes in pH. I think everyone can agree on this. Now, sticking a metal thing into a pH sensitive environment just doesn't sound like a good idea to me. I don't know how reactive stainless steel is, but shoot, it's certainly not silicone.
That's true.
This is all coming from the place that also sold the jade egg way back when, and got into a lot of legal trouble because that jade egg was misadvertised and it was very porous, so it would hold on to a lot of bacteria.
Yeah.
Yikes.
There's I don't.
It's a sourdough starter.
I can't
package.
speak to the. That's disgusting. I'll never eat sourdough bread again. Now, thank you. But I can't speak to the reactivity of stainless steel. But I will say that there's probably a reason why there are never any like fucking implants or stuff used in surgeries made from stainless steel. It's all titanium.
Talk to a biomaterials engineer, and they'll tell you about biocompatibility with metals. Yeah. And then episode 6, I don't know.
Yeah, the
whatever,
fireman. That's
like you're in that point. You're just buying whatever, so they can just sell you psychic powers. Learn
It's an
psychics.
instructional.
Everybody's psychic.
Yeah.
Don't you know that? Not just these guys, but you're psychic
It's
too. And
yeah,
you
that
can-
one's another. That one's either a book or another DVD about like harnessing your psychic energy.
Yep. And there's the Goop catalog there in a 6-episode series.
So like, I have a lot of like just jokes written here. It'd take forever to get through them all, but like I got the big ones in about how they like fucking contradict the whole show by like her needing another anxiety treatment because apparently mushrooms and cold showers don't do what they just said they did. But yeah, like this is just don't watch Goop Lab. Not even like for the perverse entertainment value. There's just so much better stuff you can do with your time.
Yeah. Oh, Jake's just sending me shit now. And now they're trying to get my mail.
Oh no.
Oh, that's a necklace?
A
No.
vibrator necklace. So when you're on the go and you really need to rub one out, if you're a girl,
And you want to wear it around your neck.
Is this
so
the way that
everyone
girls are going to
knows?
discover? Is this how girls are going to discover that you can't reach down there from your head unless you take out a couple of ribs?
I think I'm
Wait,
screwed.
not like Marilyn Manson. God damn it, that's a fucking
Yes,
urban
he did
legend.
not
Here's the
have-
Jedi.
He's confirmed it himself. Are they?
But I heard it in middle school from Tim.
He's confirmed it himself.
He told me.
He's.
Timmy told
There
me.
was an interview he did about that where he addressed that. He's like, yeah, I've heard this rumor a lot, but like, let's just say if it were true, I wouldn't be here for a number of reasons.
Does that imply that
The
he's just be
implication
sucking his
being
dick
that
like
you'd either
10
be dead or sucking his dick all the time.
24/7 sucking his dick?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame him.
So like, have I asked this question before? Do we think sucking your own dick is a gay leaning activity or just like advanced level masturbation?
Advanced level masturbation.
Gay leaning activity, because it's like tickling yourself. You can't do it. Feels more like tickling someone than getting tickled. And from the anecdotes that I've heard, sucking your own dick is like more like sucking a dick than getting your dick sucked.
Okay, I will.
We'll leave it at
You have gone to dark circles of the internet that most men dare not tread, Peter. So I will
But
trust
what if
your
you were just
authority.
curious and you were just like, let's try it. Let's see what's up with this thing.
Well, then you're a
And you're
little
like, I'm a
you're a
flexible
little
young lad.
bi-curious, yeah.
Yeah, and then you're just like, that hurt too much to do it.
Okay.
And
And then you don't do it.
I'm not making. I'm not going to
look,
make it a
no,
value
I'm not
judgment.
saying that like there's nothing wrong if you're a little bi-curious or gay. That's not what we're trying to say. We're just trying to determine whether or not this is an activity that would make someone bi-curious or gay leaning versus like just next level of masturbation.
I'm going to vote next level masturbation. because you're young and impressionable and flexible and bored one night, and you're just, well, might as well.
Man, you must be
I'll say if
really
you do it
flexible
once.
to reach that far in. You must be-
Yeah.
That far.
So we've also taken a turn.
Yeah,
today.
well, I mean, just filling out some time right now. Yeah, Goop Lab. Don't watch it. There are much better ways to spend 3.5 hours than watching Gwyneth Paltrow pretend to be human.
Yep. If you do follow the rules I've laid out, write them down. I may actually upload this list onto the blog so that you too can follow along at home if you're going to proceed with this. Even if you think like us, you're gonna indulge like as like a so bad it's good sort of deal, or like a watch this shitty thing. This will get you through it. I promise you. It'll get you drunk about halfway in, and then you'll be drunk for the rest of it, and it won't hurt
It won't
you
hurt you
physically.
so bad. All right.
Although I didn't have a hangover this morning.
Maybe there's something to some of
Usually don't have hangovers.
their claims. Did you take a cold shower?
It was my
Did you
psychic
take a cold
aura.
shower to kill the E. coli bacteria?
No,
All right.
I woke up half an hour ago.
All right, everyone. That's going to be a wrap on episode 209. We'll be back next week for episode 2010. Please swing by the stream tonight at around 8 p.m. Mixer and Twitch /Saturn Studs on both of those platforms. We will be rocking some more For the King. And Peter's got a devilish look in his eye for some reason. It's making me nervous.
Episode 2010,
2010,
Kurt. Were you going back to Secret of
I
the
saw
Ooze?
It's been a long week, okay? This has been a rough one.
You're part of the club now.
Whoa.
And I was very happy that I just caught that. It just came out, and I just saw it. I'm like, he didn't just do
2010.
that.
Yeah, I guess it is 210. It's not 2010 anymore. Don't hold your beard like that and smile like that. It makes me very
It might be
uncomfortable.
209.
Oh, is it? Is today 208? Did I skip one?
Yeah, I think it's 2009.
2009. Hold on. Let's double check here. I didn't check before. This was maybe a poor decision. Episodes. No, today is 209.
Why is Forbidden Planet at 208?
Oh, because that was last week.
Last
That was
week.
last week.
Yeah.
And this week is
Yeah.
209.
Yeah.
And next week will be
Yeah.
2010.
Wait, did
all
you say,
works
did you
out,
say
Jake.
next week was 2010?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. My bad.
That was the basis for my entire fucking mugging at Kurt.
All right. I thought you called this one to.
Jake, go to the Goop Lab. Go to the
I
Goop
was
Lab.
like, no, I fucking know this is
I'm a little
209. That's our numbers. Jesus Christ.
So, be like us,
You see
And
what
count.
Goop Lab has done to this man?
and we'll catch you
Yeah,
next week, everybody.
be sure to
For
watch some,
episode 2009.
be sure to watch For the King tonight. Visit SaturnStuds.com for our social media and all that jazz. Donate in the link description if you are feeling generous. And until next time, be well, stay safe, stay inside. Unless your state's reopening and then you have to go back to work. But, stay safe, everyone. And
Party like it's 1995. Peace.
Bye.